From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Adeshawa Josh. Our top stories tonight. Federal Executive Council approves more than $1 billion for health sector reforms and nearly 5 billion naira for HIV treatment. Nigerians express concern as fuel stations continue to sell at old prices despite reduction in loading price at Dangote refinery. And President Cyril Ramaphosa fires back at U.S. President Donald Trump over claim that South Africa is confiscating land and treating some citizens badly.
In business, Nigeria denies claims of 65% electricity tariff hike, says its rate adjustments.
And in sport, former president of the Spanish Soccer Federation, Luis Rubiales, begins trial over forced case of star player Jenny Hermoso.
We begin tonight in Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital territory, where the Federal Executive Council has approved a sum of $1.07 billion in financing for healthcare sector reforms under the Human Capital Opportunities for Prosperity and Equity program. The move comes as U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening to freeze foreign aid, and that's rattling several countries around the world that's benefiting from the funds. According to the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, the World Bank's International Development Association has provided 2 concessional loans of $500 million each, alongside $70 million in grant funding from other international bodies. Coordinating Minister of Health, Mohammed Ali Parte, explained that the funds will be used to improve governance in healthcare, enhance primary health services nationwide, and support the recruitment and training of healthcare workers. In addition, the Council approved 4.8 billion naira for the procurement of 150,000 HIV treatment packs over the next 4 months. In the coming days, Nigerians may heave a sigh of relief over a possible decrease in petrol pump price following the recent announcement of a slash in petrol ex-depot price by Dangote refinery. But how long before this reduction takes effect at filling stations? News Central's Biola Festus has more.
To an average Nigerian, announcements regarding petrol prices have become cliches. Whether increment or reduction, every news concerning petroleum products seems to get the people agitated, as they are more concerned about implementation. A visit to some fueling stations in Lagos mainland revealed that pump prices remain unchanged, ranging between 960 naira and 970 naira. Although the recent 60 naira decrease in ex-depot price announced by Dangote refinery was yet to reflect in the cost of petrol at the fueling stations, the development was greeted with hopes by motorists.
If the fuel price is reduced, it will be very good. It will be nice. At least transportation problem will be lesser than for some. At least some of us that have vehicles, to afford the petrol is a problem.
Carry náà ni kókó kí wọ́n change the price yẹn kó lè bá rọ̀ wá lọ́rùn níta fẹ́ nìyẹn torí àti change the price yẹn tí wọ́n bá ti há owó nísìn wọ́n á há pump ṣùgbọ́n láti jáwọ́ yẹn wá sílẹ̀ fún àwọn ilé epo kò ìwá ìsì ìgbà yẹn máa ní pé high price làwọn rà so àfi táwọn bá tà tán.
Ex-depot price is a lifting cost of PMS from the refinery and therefore expected that petroleum marketers and outlets would fix their individual pump prices, which is usually influenced largely by proximity to depots. In the meantime, the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petran, says the price slash is not expected to reflect on pump price immediately, but until old stocks are exhausted. However, Nigerians are looking forward to more competitions in the petroleum industry, with optimism that it will create balance and stability in the market.
At the end of the day, it will be a very good thing for Nigerians. There will be competition, just like our telecommunications then. You know, it became balanced. So if Dangote is selling at 700 or 800, federal government should bring their own back like 600. So we'll get there at the end of the day.
You would recall that the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries became functional in November and December of 2024. With the global decline in the cost of crude oil, Nigerians are expecting that federal government-owned refineries would also follow suit in the price reduction to alleviate their struggles. In Lagos for News Central, I am Biola Festas.
Professor Izilian Agbon, an economist and petroleum engineer, joins us from Dallas, Texas for more on this story. Professor, thanks for joining us tonight.
Sure.
Well, it's the second time in about 2 months that the Dangote refinery is announcing petrol price slash. Help us understand what's driving this decision and the impact it's expected to have on the average citizen.
Well, actually, Dangote refinery, the prices they are operating at is oligopolistic prices.
What does that mean?
That means when you have an oligopolistic market, it means you have very few sellers in the market. And therefore, the sellers can set the price because you don't have alternatives. We have a situation where Dangote have a big share of the Nigerian petrol PMS market, and therefore it sets the price. Normally, Dangote can put petrol at $7.90 per liter. Why do I say that? You see, here in Texas, for instance, you can buy petrol at 885 naira per liter at an exchange rate of, let's say, 16.20. That is, you are buying it at around $2 per gallon. You can buy that $2 per gallon in McLean. And in Dangote, NNPC sell crude to them at official selling price, which is about $10 below the market price. And they buy it in Naira. When you take that into consideration, Dangote should be able to, Dangote will put petrol in at the refinery gate at 790 naira per liter and still make a profit of about 50 naira.
Are you saying that Dangote is still selling at too high a price for Nigerians?
Dangote is still selling at too high a price. Apart from making 50 naira per liter, it is also making another 100 naira oligopolistic profit. Extra profit at 890. Dangote is making an extra 100 naira per liter than what it should be making if it was going to make just normal private business profit. Because you got to realize that Dangote, the higher the price, the more profit Dangote makes, and Dangote shareholder makes. Dangote is not, Dangote is a private business. Its primary goal is to make profit for itself and for a shareholder, not to benefit Nigerian customer. That's secondary. The higher the price of PMS, the more profit Dangote make, the more profit for Dangote Petroleum Refinery, the more profit for Dangote Group of Company. But the higher the price, then the rest of us suffer. Because when you increase the price of petrol, the price of transportation go up. All the small and medium-sized businesses that use generator, their energy costs go up, and therefore the price go up. The price of Okada drop goes up. The price of thousands of workers that enter buses go up. The price of electricity in your house, because you are using generator and you are buying petrol, goes up. In Nigeria, the economy is dependent on the movement of goods and people. In Nigeria, road transport is the biggest movement of goods and people, whether from the rural area in the farm to the market or workers to work. Even you coming to office today, you enter the car. So when you increase the price of petrol in Nigeria, you increase the price of everything.
That's right.
Housing, transportation, and the people's salary is constant. So
Professor, let me come in quickly here. You've said something quite interesting about the price that Dangote is currently selling. And so my question would be, the Nigerian government has been criticized for not doing enough to regulate fuel prices and protect consumers. Do you think that's the case? And what role do you think the government should play in this regard?
First of all, I think that is true. You know, in the past, we told government that the problem with the petrol sector was a problem of corruption, and it was not a problem of subsidy. But they claimed there was subsidy. We kept saying there is no subsidy, that there is corruption. And you cannot solve corruption by increasing the price of petrol. Because if you increase the price of petrol, you put the economy into crisis. But they refused. They increased the price of petrol, claiming they are removing subsidy. But that have not solved anything. It just makes the price of everything go up. Inflation for food went to 40%. So the consequences of an incorrect policy, it is an incorrect policy for an oil-producing country to increase the price of a basic commodity like petrol.
Professor, let me come in here then and try to play the devil's advocate, in the sense that the Nigerian marketers, the oil marketers, are anxious, in fact, that even this price slash is going to lead to a loss for them. Are they overreacting?
Well, the thing about it is this. When you are buying petrol at $2 and you are shipping it into Nigeria, Dangote is a very fierce competitor. People forget what Dangote did in sugar and cement. If you want to read the history of Dangote competitor, go and look at what Dangote did to DUA in cement. Dangote always tried to dominate and control a market 100%. So if government wants to help Nigerian people, they should pass antitrust law. An antitrust law is a law that says there must be competition.
That's right.
And they should make sure that NNPC not only repair the 4 refineries, but they make them commercial and put the management under strict competitor with Dangote. They should tell NNPC that they should reduce price until they control 80% of the domestic market. Let Dangote be exporting its petrol. Dangote's goal is to probably just supply 20% of the Nigerian market. That's what it says, and then it will export the rest of the PMS.
Professor Zillian.
Actually, Dangote will control 100% of the Nigerian PMS market because it's very profitable. It's making extra profit, just like it did in cement.
Professor Zillian, we're going to have to leave it there, and I'm sure that's why the federal government is also trying to fire up all the other refineries in the country so that there is competition. And the more competition they have in the industry, hopefully that will bring down the price of petrol. Thank you so much, Professor Izilin Agbon, an economist and petroleum engineer, for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Clamping on crimes now, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered the interim forfeiture of digital assets valued at $222,729. The assets are linked to the unlawful activities of the 193 foreigners and 599 Nigerians who were arrested last December in one fell swoop by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Those arrested, totaling 792, were said to have been involved in various offences bordering on cryptocurrency, investment fraud, and romance scams. Justice Alexander Owoeye made the order of temporary forfeiture following an expert application filed and moved by the EFCC. Residents of Bello Street in Ketu, Lagos are calling on the government to intervene after demolition teams moved in unexpectedly, threatening to pull down marked buildings allegedly without prior notice. Many of the affected residents claim the process is illegal, and they say they were not informed or given any official documentation before the demolition began. News Central's lead correspondent, Bernard Akede, reports.
It was an unusual and tense morning here on Bello Street, Ketu. News Central arrived after receiving distress calls from residents who claim their houses were about to be demolished without warning. Several buildings had been marked for demolition, but according to the residents, no proper notice was given.
My landlord didn't say anything about demolition or receiving anything when I rented out this place. And even till now, there's still no papers that has been shown to me. Then I asked around from the bailiffs that I saw, like, what exactly is going on? They said they have an order to demolish this whole line for the street. They wrote like almost this on every house on this side of the street. And before our agents got here, we already lost a bit of security, which is our fence that covers the security of the house, the store. I'm very confused. I'm tired. I've cried because I'm really, really not sure what's going on.
While inspecting the area, it became clear that some buildings had been marked for demolition, but the markings appeared selective, raising questions about why certain properties were targeted while others remained untouched.
At this point, selected houses like this were marked with this identification. Some has gotten their fence down, all because of these documents. This is not a new house. This belongs to my father. The land, I built the house on it, renovated. How come the Obolukosi will just decide to come out of the blue moon and say they are taking possession? Waking up overnight to now say you want to take possession. Look at the house beside. The house is not included. The next house is not included. This house is not included. Why is it that selected house is being included?
Many affected residents, some whom had lived in the area for decades, are now calling on the Lagos state government to intervene before they lose their homes entirely. However, a man who claimed to be the son of the Onikosi, the traditional ruler of the area, spoke off camera. He alleged that landlords had been notified about the demolition plans and invited for discussions, but failed to attend. The situation remains unclear, with conflicting accounts from residents and local authorities. News Central will continue to seek responses from government officials to understand why these demolitions are taking place and whether due process was followed. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
President Bola Tinubu has approved an act to establish the Federal University of Environment Technology in Ogoni, Rivers State, into law. The bill was signed in the presence of the National Security Advisor, federal lawmakers, and representatives of Ogoni communities. And they say the gesture is proof of the president's commitment to the remediation of polluted lands in Ogoni community.
The signing of this bill into law by His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, demonstrates a strong commitment to addressing long-standing concerns and fostering a sustainable development in Ogoniland and Nigeria. This university represents more than just an educational institution. It is a beacon of hope, progress, and environmental restoration for Ogoniland, the Niger Delta, and beyond.
This landmark decision reaffirms Mr. President's commitment to genuine engagement, inclusive governance, and sustainability development in our region. In sponsoring this bill, Mr. President, I was fully aware of the vital role this university will play in addressing core aspects of the Ogoni question. The Federal University of Environment and Technology in Ogoni will serve as a beacon of hope, a place where our youth can acquire knowledge, develop skills, and foster innovation.
This university will offer courses in area of environment, environmental sciences and technology, and more so in areas of hydrochemistry, atmospheric chemistry, environmental microbiology, and environmental chemistry. This university will contribute to mid-level worker and high-level worker to support our industry. And beyond that, it will give enormous opportunities to our teeming young men and women who desperately need this opportunity Today, the answer is here for the people of Ogoniland.
The swiftness with which the president responded to some of the things that happened in the meeting of the delegation of the Ogoni people that less than 2 weeks ago gives me great assurance that this is something different from maybe what we have been used to. I think this is a symbol, and it will send the message to several other communities that there is at least even peaceful agitations can also be rewarded, which is what the Ogonis have been known for.
Still on education, teachers have a significant impact on the quality of education and play a vital role in improving the literacy rate in the country. Despite their pivotal role, many teachers struggle to make ends meet as calls for better welfare of teachers in Nigeria grow all louder. News Central's Omolola Ololade has more.
And other resources, the best way to make a major impact is definitely through the country's greatest educational asset, its teachers.
There are teachers who have been teaching for over a decade who haven't accessed resources to teach, tools, materials, aids, instructional aids to teach in the classrooms for over a decade that they've been teaching. You have teachers who have been in the system for more than a decade who are not able to access training. They haven't accessed any CPD, continuous professional development training, since they put them in the school. Neither have they got any coaching support and what have you.
So you know that these days training teachers can come with a lot of costs, sending them to School of Education and all of that. We need to mold the people who imbibe knowledge in our children. So, and that is why we've said you don't need to come in for physical training. Take the training online, using technology.
Some of these teachers find themselves teaching in a range of challenging situations, from working in remote areas with limited infrastructure, with little or no support or guidance, and overcrowded classrooms with children sitting on the floor. The emergence of digital tools, especially the use of AI, may have enhanced teaching and learning, but it has come with its concerns about AI replacing teachers in schools. Educators, however, think otherwise, hence the need for continuous trainings for teachers.
Teaching is a human-centric profession. Sometimes the learners need to be encouraged to be able to come to that state where they can be open to receive everything they have to be impacted with. So the AI or technological tools might not be able to come to that point to determine this learner is not ready, is not emotionally, ready or socially ready to take whatever he's going to be taught. But the human teacher will be able to sense that, encourage them, counsel them, make them ready, and bring them to that point where they are open to receive whatever it is.
Nigeria's education cannot exceed the quality of its teachers, hence transforming education outcomes for all students begins with teachers. In Lagos for News Central, I am Omolola Ololade.
Still ahead tonight, at least one killed, 4 others injured in Moscow residential complex explosion. We have details for you after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. South Africa's land redistribution efforts have sparked intense debate, with the country's complex history of apartheid and land ownership at the forefront. The issue has drawn international attention, including criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump, who announced the suspension of future funding to South Africa due to concerns over land expropriation policies. At the heart of the controversy is a bill signed into law by President Cyril Ramaphosa, allowing the government to offer no compensation in certain cases of land expropriation. Critics, including Elon Musk, have raised concerns that the move could lead to a repeat of Zimbabwe's chaotic land seizures.
Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So That's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that. It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out.
Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa has fired back at U.S. President Donald Trump over claims that South Africa is confiscating land and maltreating a section of his country. Ramaphosa says he's eager to explain to Trump his government's land reform policy, which aims to address racial imbalances in land ownership. Ramaphosa says he's looking forward to also talking to Trump about the issue and other bilateral interests, as he is confident that these discussions will lead to a better understanding of the matter. The Expropriation Act allows the state to acquire land in the public interest, but Ramaphosa emphasizes that this doesn't mean confiscation. I am now being joined from Johannesburg in South Africa by Mameltoa Sebei, President of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Pleased to be here and to your viewers.
I mean, you heard what President Trump said. I mean, we just played the track now. What was the first thing that jumped at you when you heard his statement?
Well, the thing is that Trump and the lunatic right to infringe that have ascended a throne in the U.S., in Washington, D.C., are really overplaying their hand. I think they exaggerate the position that U.S. imperialism occupied today as in the world economy, in the geopolitics. As, for instance, it did about 20, 30 years ago, and probably even about in about 80, 50 years ago, and so on. The reality is that there's been a terminal decline of U.S. dominance. Now, that's not to say that the era of the U.S. hegemony is over. It is certainly the most powerful superpower in the world, but in the current conjunction, it is only one of many. And I do think that all the fury around the Expropriation Act are misplaced. If anything, this is, Expropriation Act that is just really a cosmetic refinement of the law that has always been there. The ANC itself is committed to a preservation of private ownership over the means of production, over the minerals, over the land. And I think that is a complete betrayal of the aspiration of the vast majority of the black working class who elevated to power and who sought, in so doing, not only political power, which ended apartheid, but also wanted economic emancipation, which will only be possible when they exercise public ownership over the means of production, minerals, and of course the land in this country. And they build economy that work in the interest of the vast majority and not few multinational corporations, particularly those from the Western imperialist countries in the U.S.
Mameltoa, you can see just right beside you on the screen, there is a Ramaphosa's tweet saying South Africa is a constitutional democracy rooted in the rule of law, justice, and equality. How do you interpret President Ramaphosa's supposedly calm response to Trump's statement saying, look, listen, this is a democracy and we did this in the interest of our country?
I mean, the very concept of constitutionalism and the rule of law, progressive as to some may understand, it may sound. Profoundly what it means is that they are committed, as I've said, preservation of the capitalist system, which in South Africa actually means the domination of the economy by the few historically white-owned corporate monopolies in the country, and mainly foreign-owned multinational companies that exercise hegemony over the economy and dictate every aspect of the black working class life in a manner that is profoundly undemocratic. And I think this is an assurance, first and foremost, to markets. This is an assurance to the very same corporate interests that Trump and company want to assert. What I think, however, Trump and the new U.S. administration, which is by far more right-wing, and I think than even the original, U.S. I mean the original, the first Trump administration, right? Is an attempt at the reassertion of U.S. hegemony in a condition where, as I've said, although U.S. remain a superpower in the world, certainly the most powerful of all of them, it is today only one of many. And I think what this, as they've also shown across the world, is an attempt to show up, white power, the power of the corporate oligarchies, that is mainly, Western in origin, but also is a challenge to an attempt at establishment of alternatives, including BRICS bloc, which South Africa is part of, alongside, other countries like Russia, China, and India, and so on. So the point is that they don't want an alternative, they don't want a challenge to their superpower. But I think that is not going to.
Brilliant response there. But I want to quickly ask you, how do you think this rift might affect South Africa's presidency of the G20? Because obviously Donald Trump will be attending.
The presidency of the G20 is rotational. I don't think they'll lose it by virtue.
Well, what I mean by that is Ramaphosa will be hosting Donald Trump at some point this year, I believe. How do you see that play out? How do you see, when they eventually come face to face, where do you think this is going to lead?
I think we shouldn't really exaggerate the importance of some of these forums that are more informal, and I think at best is about a soft power. In matters of fundamental inter-imperialist interest, I think the question is, in what direction is the U.S. Economy is cooperate or dominant cooperate interest, and is ruling class traveling on the most fundamental questions of their economic interest and, of course, the policy direction of that regime. And I don't think that is going to be resolved over an issue of whether he's here for a G20 or not. Reality is there's a struggle for world domination, and South Africa has increasingly aligned itself with a bloc that is challenging the U.S. hegemony, that is trying to reorganize the global economy in its own interest. And I think that is viewed as a threat by American and particularly the Trump administration.
Amatella Owoeye, President of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for your thoughts.
Pleasure to be here.
An explosion at a luxury residential complex in Moscow on Monday has left one person dead and 4 others injured, including a Ukrainian separatist fighter. State media reports that Armen Sarkisyan, a former boxing official from eastern Ukraine who founded a battalion to fight against Kyiv, was among the wounded. Initial reports claimed he had been killed, but later updates confirmed he survived. Authorities believe the blast was caused by an explosive device which destroyed the building's lobby and caused significant damage. Russia has witnessed a series of assassinations and mysterious explosions since launching its full-scale offensive against Ukraine. Investigations into the incident are ongoing. Business News is next after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Lekon from our business desk joins me now with the latest. Lekon, what is this I'm hearing about electricity tariff? Is it true we're going to be paying more for electricity now?
No, we won't be paying more. It's just misinformation, and I'll be bringing clarity to that during the course of the business news. We tell you that Owoeye, the federal government energy advisor, clarified that current Band A tariffs cover 65% of electricity supply costs, with the government subsidizing the remainder. She refuted claims of a potential two-thirds tariff increase, stressing the focus on fair pricing and improved electricity delivery. Verheyen outlined plans for a targeted subsidy system to support low-income households, noting that the current 200 billion naira monthly subsidy primarily benefits wealthier Nigerians. To address concerns about unmetered customers, she highlighted the presidential metering initiative, which aims to eliminate estimated billing by deploying 7 million meters nationwide. And I'll tell you that trading activities in the Nigerian equities markets closed positive at the end of Monday, February 3, 2025. And taking a look at the snapshot or the slides, I must say the NGX all-share index actually increased in terms of its record, 104,430.30. As we have here, you can see the differentials of 0.13%. And of course, that's from 104,496.12 recorded at the close of the previous trading day, indicating a year-to-date return of 1.66% and marking a 0.13% increase according to what we track. Now, this indicates mild positive sentiment in the market. Looking at market capitalization, increased by 83 billion naira to 64.791 trillion naira from 64.709 trillion naira recorded at the previous trading day's close. However, the market turnover decreased about 13.253 billion naira from 15.422 billion naira. Now, the market breadth was negative at 0.59x in ratio as 20 stocks advanced and 34 stocks declined, while 65 stocks remained unchanged. So we wrap up with the sectoral performance now. Well, the banking sector, of course, saw a decline of 0.40%, let's just say 0.4%, basically, signaling weaker investor interest and profit taken in financial stocks. Insurance actually gained 0.54% right here, showing resilience and investor confidence in the sector. We look at oil and gas, 0.02% is what we saw in marginal increase, indicating stability of some sort. But then you look at the consumer goods, we saw a fall of 0.61%, suggesting lower demand or price corrections, as the case may be, while the industrial goods slipped 0.1%, reflecting minor bearish movement. So the key takeaways here is that the market remains moderately positive, but certain sectors like banking and consumer goods faced pressure. And of course, the general sentiment suggests that cautious optimism with selective buying in sectors would always take, of course, precedence in cases like this. And that's it on business news. Do stay with us. The stories that we have for you tonight will come your way in a bit.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
It is time for some sports news, and Owoeye from our sports desk joins us now. Owoeye, what do we have?
All right, in the world of sport, it's all about an aftermath of what happened sometime in August 2023. So former boss of the Spanish Football Federation, Luis Rubiales, he's on the trial for that forceful kiss on the captain of the Spanish women's team, Jenny Hermoso. But I'll tell you more about this shortly.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
In the world of sport, World Cup winner Jenny Hermoso has told court in Madrid that she never agreed to be kissed on the lips by former Spanish football chief Luis Rubiales. She said the incident tainted one of her happiest days of her life. Rubiales is on trial for kissing Hermoso after Spain won the Women's World Cup in August 2023. He is accused of sexual assault and of trying to pressure Hermoso into saying the kiss was consensual. He denies the charges. Speaking in court on Monday, Hermoso said she felt disrespected and never gave permission for the kiss.
un momento que mancharon de uno de los días más felices de mi vida, y para mí es muy importante decir que en ningún momento busqué ese acto y ni mucho menos me lo esperé, porque a mi persona creo que...
We would follow up on that situation. Moving away from that, Plateau United FC management has given technical advisor Boas Mangut and his coaching staff a 3-match ultimatum following a series of disappointing performances. The decision was made after a high-level meeting on Monday, February 3rd, in Jos, which involved the club's general manager, Habila Mutla, and other management officials. The ultimatum comes in the wake of the poor run of results. Plateau United's next 3 matches will be against Niger Tornadoes in Minna, Alkanemi Warriors of Maiduguri, and the Ikorodu City of Lagos in the MPFL. And finally, in the world of sport, Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez and undefeated former undisputed welterweight champion Terence Crawford are on the verge on completing a deal for a mega fight later this year. Alvarez and Crawford have an agreement in place for a super middleweight bout this September, headlining a Riyadh season card in the location still to be determined. Alvarez will defend his WBC, WBO, WBA, and Ring Magazine titles against Crawford, a 2-time undisputed champion, moving up 2 weight classes from his bout. Now, Crawford most recently fought at light middleweight in August last year. In his fight, that's his first fight since moving from the middleweight, the welterweight division. Alvarez is expected to remain on his standard schedule, still fighting in May, ahead of that highly anticipated clash with Crawford. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. Tonight continues shortly.
It's time for some entertainment news with Dan. I love all the highlights from the Grammy Awards, especially all the black wins. Doechii has my heart completely. But what is this thing I'm hearing about Ghanaians claiming that our very own Thames is Ghanaian? I mean, come on, guys. We've done enough jollof wars. Please keep your hands off Thames.
Please tell them, I don't know, louder for those at the back. For some reason, of course, Thames is in the news, and this is, of course, the Grammys happened. And even though a lot of great winners, Thames was definitely the biggest for us as Nigerians and Africans. So it's no doubt that Ghanaians are trying to take from our Nigerian soup. We'll bring all the big details after this quick break.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Of course, entertainment, the 67 Grammy Awards went down, and it was a proud moment for many A-list stars, including our Nigerian singer-songwriter Thames. Now, Thames, of course, bagged a brand new award, yes. She has now become the Afrobeat star with the most Grammy wins, for those who don't know. Best African Music category. She won this one, and people are celebrating her. I mean, Peter Obi put out a message. Not only that, our president, Abiola Ahmed Tinubu himself. Now, what is now a shock to many people, of course, is this tweet getting much attention, saying Ghanaian female musician. Now, they went as far as putting a name. They say Twamasi Efia Mirekua Sintim, popularly known as Thames, has won her 2nd Grammy with Love Me Jeje. Ghanaians are proud. Now, adding the country's flag and the love emoji, which is a shock. Now, although some attribute this to, of course, like you talked about, the Ghana and Nigeria's long-standing rivalry, whether it's from our jollof war or the music and global dominance, I'm like,
leave Thames out of this.
In fact, for those who don't know, that name, Thames, is born Temilade Okpeni. It doesn't sound Ghanaian to me. She was born in the year 1995 here in Lagos, Nigeria, to Nigerian parents. She's of Yoruba ethnicity. In fact, there's a meaning for Temilade in Yoruba, meaning the crown is mine.
Actually, that's my middle name.
It is?
And I mean Thames a little bit.
Oh, wow. In fact, you're both stars. Come on.
Thank you.
All right, so please, y'all now well informed of who Thames is. All right, don't believe everything you see on the news, except it's from us. But let's move away from that one. On the international scene, Diddy is back in the news.
Oh, God.
Well, why this is funny is the fact that, according to reports, he was hospitalized. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey, right? Some people are saying it was out of severe chest pain he was experiencing and had to be taken to the hospital. Other reports are saying that it was knee injury, and some people have actually headlined.
How did he get any of those? Is he not in the same jail cell with Sam Bank Friedman, the cryptocurrency fraudster?
You are right. There were rumors.
Is that his name, though?
There were reports, yes, from last year that Sam Bankman-Fried, former crypto boss, who of course is in prison for fraud, that they could be possibly in the same part of the Brooklyn detention center. And I said, interesting. Hopefully that doesn't mean anything, but...
Hopefully that doesn't mean who punched who in the face or how he got those injuries.
But his attorneys, they always didn't give any information, of course, about his movement or his health at the time. So we're hoping he's fine because his trial is coming up soon. And once that happens, you'll be the first to know, of course, right here.